Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hello and welcome to the Handicapable. And okay, it's like I know I have some, well, I think all of my episodes are, well, I guess, yeah, I'm not chasing any trends or whatever. I'm literally telling my story since I'm writing stories, children's and ones for adults. It's like I just feel like my characters come from experiences in my life, and especially since a lot of people, especially Republicans, they don't really look outside of themselves or look outside of the Bible. It's like sometimes arrogance, ignorance, uneducated, like atmosphere is bliss for them. And I grew up in the church, and I think that's the crazy part. It's like my parents encouraged education, but then forced us at like it's like, and the thing is, like, I'm a Christian and I do believe, but my beliefs have changed since I looked at and noticed the brainwashing, especially when it comes to women and men. And when it comes to men, I know why a lot of men hate me, or why conversations don't last that long, because I'm a big nerd. I get really excited and I love digging into topics, talking about documentaries. And I've literally had men say, especially of a certain racial demographic, I'm too square, I'm too nerdy. It's like, why in the earth would you watch documentaries? That's stupid, that's dumb. What are you ever going to get out of it? It's not like you're going to try to get a doctorate. I've literally had that during a conversation, and then 5 minutes later the guy tell me that he wanted me to show him nudes. Yeah. So then when I hang up on him, and then he called me 5, 10 times in a row, and I keep hanging up on him. He was just like, that's why no one's ever going to want you, period. It's like, you've got a curvy body, you got that body right, but it's like you're a thick one, but you keep using your brain. No man's ever going to want your brain. And the fun, I don't know, it's just men are amusing, especially millennial and zennials, because you say you don't want a woman's brain, but a lot of you guys are broke. And I know I'm building myself up back up from my diagnosis. So yeah, I know I'm not perfect. But at least with all of my standards, I fit every single, like, and men keep saying that I have too high of standards. And I'm like, willing to adopt and foster. Willing to adopt and foster. That's too high. Not going to prison. Do you know how many of men that were in prison tell me the good men are in prison? I'm stuck up because I won't date a man in prison. I've dated enough men in prison, and a lot of them end up going right back into the crime, or they tell me that if they get locked up again, that it's my job, my responsibility to stay with them, or I will be a selfish, no good B word. I know. It's like, I'm selfish. You're the one that is literally going back into what got you in there in the first place, but then I'm the selfish one. I'm the, like, no. And or men who, they want to flaunt money. They take pictures of them with wads of money when their car is cost more than their house, some 5, 10 fold. But they don't realize. And it's like, I think I just heard about this one college football player, or there's an athlete, a pretty young athlete, who was encouraging financial literacy. And I've been saying this for years. When I was teaching in the inner city, I would even show how I invest in new sites where like you can invest easily and how you can even angel invest and you can be part owners of businesses. And it's like I would show them like this is what Shark Tank does. But then, and I'm gonna, like I keep saying, I'm gonna do series on different topics. And when it comes to education, I am going to talk about the teachers who kept telling students that I'm trying to turn them white because I was educating them, because I was trying to make sure by the time they went to high school, they were ready to read at a higher level than third grade. Majority of the eighth graders were still at a third grade reading level, but they could rap like the baddest. And I kept getting put down because, like, I remember when the principal was telling me her game plan and some of the classes that she wanted me to teach, because I'm not certified. I'm not a certified teacher, but I do have a master's in teaching and training with technology, and my bachelor's is in English, and my MBA is in internet marketing. So it's like I have a lot of, like, I guess, expertise with blending technology and creativity and like phonics and stuff like that together. So I create, like with my eighth graders, I mixed phonics and reading with history with rap. But then the teachers kept putting me down and they were telling the eighth graders, she's just trying to turn you white. They're like, she's just trying to make you look like you're not going to look hood on the street. You're not going to look good. Oh, they're going to tease you. They're going to mock you. And I'm just like, you're a teacher. Like, why did you, other than getting summer breaks, why did you work? Why did you choose this career? If you don't want to teach these children, if you don't want to uplift these children, why in the world are you here? You're wasting time. And it's like telling students that they were stupid. Teachers literally, because oh, technology is amazing, but then these teachers are, they should be very fortunate that I kept having to tell students to delete it from their phone, because the rules were like if you were caught with your cell phone and stuff in class that you can get suspended or in school detention or whatever. So students would come up to me first before because they knew the rule, because they knew I would tell them to delete it. Especially and one student, oh my gosh, I think she posted it hers online. I was like, okay, I can't help you, girl. So yeah, she got suspended for I think about like 5 days to a week, and I'm just like, girl, like, real, like like the rules, but but it's like so. But I mean, she, like what she recorded was totally different. But some students, to like, because sometimes what I would go to the principal, and when I would do write-ups, the principal never believed me, or she would tell me I didn't write the students up. And I think I mentioned this before, that the counselor, quote unquote, she was a nightmare, awful, idiotic, like selfish, like in my opinion, of course, but she was ridiculous. She was an awful human being. But yeah, but then she would kind of like, she was kind of like Glenda. It's like everyone thought she was so good, but how come with three different teachers, we all found out she was throwing away our write ups on purpose? It was to the point where the three of us, we had to like go into, like, the principal told us to go into our office, hide our write ups somewhere, like, because so I would hide them in books or hide them under her planner. That's how bad it got, because she would all, like, I remember, like, the principal kept saying that I would not write them up, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I wrote that one up 10 times. I was like, I showed you the bruise when they kicked me because they refused to do their homework, and when I caught them cheating, they kicked me. What are you talking about? And I was and it's like, it's like, so yeah. But anyway, it's just frustrating, because especially the fathers and the men at that school, they would be upset with me. It's like, oh, my son's gonna be a basketball player anyway. My son's gonna be a rapper anyway. If you can't read, how? Mm. Okay, I'm okay. Some of these rappers out here nowadays, they're terrible. it's like they like some of their raps is just like, really? That's it. That's all. And even with some of the old school rappers, like basically they, I think that's one reason why millennials and Gen Z think so low of women, because with some of the music, we were just bees and garden hose and like material things. And it's sad but true. It is sad but true. And I had some fathers try to yell at me or tell me that their sons didn't need to know much anyway. And it's like I didn't like they didn't expect much out of them. And I'm like, no wonder. No wonder when they get home they don't try to do their homework. No wonder when they get home they think an essay is going to the sites and literally copying, pasting. No, what like I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. Like, what do you like? Really? So, but back to the dating part, because even dating, or back to dating, a lot of these millennial fathers now, the way that they treat women, and some of the men hate me because, like, when they start telling me that I'm not sleeping with them fast enough, or that my body is the main reason any man's ever gonna want me or whatever, or even okay, I'm starting my own businesses, I'm writing my own books, but how come men who don't have their own business, they have never written a book, they didn't finish college, or they dropped out, or they never started, and but then those men are the ones who are trying to give me advice. They are trying to tell me what I'm doing wrong, or they try to tell me what they're going to do with what they would do. And it's just like, okay, well, when you start your business, when you write your book, when you publish, then maybe you can give me advice. And then they tell me that women just don't know any better and it's their job to tell me what to do. I actually, there was one guy who he was literally telling me how it's like he didn't need all of that education. Women need to go to school to learn that, but men don't. And it's because their brains are able to absorb the knowledge of the world and everything. And but then he could hardly manage a job. He couldn't save any, and that's a it's like a lot of them are the ones I can, and that's the thing. It's like, yes, I know I walk odd, so I know I'm probably never gonna end up with a pristine man if I was ever gonna try to date again, or honestly try to date again. I understand that. It's like with my disability and everything, men always tell me that no man is ever gonna want me if I walk like that. My mother told me all of my life this, like she was the first one to make sure I knew that. I know that. And it's crazy though that they may not want to keep me. They may not think I'm worth much, but they still want to borrow my money. They still want my money. They still want me to fill up their gas tank. They still want me to feed them and their children. They like some of them once they like some of them act like they're intrigued by me or that they're interested. But then over time, I kind of realized, no, you're just interested because you see that if my ideas and if my business succeeds, then you're going to probably quit your job and try to stay at the house. And you have 3 to 5 children. One of the guys, he has one child, but yeah, okay. So I'll say 1 to 5 children. There was one guy, literally 5 children. So when I said that I want children and or foster or and yeah, foster and adopt, he told me, you don't need any of that. You don't need to adopt. You could just help me take care of mine. Yeah, just take care of my kids. And I'm like, no, those are your kids and they have a mother. I said, yes, like when it comes to feeding them or whatever, yeah, okay. But it's like those are not going to be my children. Like, and some people are gonna say, no, those are your stepkids. Yes, I understand. Yeah, but it's like there, there is, but there isn't a difference. And I'm just being real because when you break up, if you break up, a lot of times those kids are gonna want nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. It's like when I first broke up with Mr. No Heart, the oldest daughter, she still kind of talked to me, but then her father started lying to her and putting I don't even know what all he told her, but I just remember one Thanksgiving I texted her, I was like, yeah, I hope you enjoy the holidays. And it's like, but she knows that my grandmother was full-blooded Native American. And it's like I forgot how the whole conversation was, but I have the text messages in my old phone so I can look it up. But I remember she texted, yeah, Native Americans should have been got over what happened to them. Even though, like, during her high school years, I would even I shared different YouTube videos that from Native Americans and historians who taught the real history. And I remember she got emotional. She even started crying watching it, and she was just like, "Oh my gosh!" But so then I know she did that just to hurt me. And so at that point, I was like, you know what? We're done. It's like I used to make sure that it's like we baked brownies and cookies at the end of like Friday, Thursday or Friday nights before they went to bed and watch anime together, and I would help with homework. It's like if something was happening at school, she would sit and talk with me. I would try to be a listening ear. I like tried to start like a garden and stuff, or a flower garden for us to watch and take care of until her I found out her sister went and dug them all out and destroyed it. And yeah, that's a different story for a different day. And I went through the literal, like, mental and physical trauma from her younger sister. But I try to stick around because I'm like, okay, once I have my own house, it's like, I'm just like, and I realize, oh, it's going to be another story for a different episode. But I started realizing how much he was using me. I already knew he was using me, but then I didn't know how much in the future he was using me, because he kept telling me, because he knew I was saving up money. I was getting my credit score up and everything, because my goal was an 820 credit score. Because it's like I know that's pretty hard, but I was just like, you know what? It's like I don't know how many years it's gonna take, but I want to get to an 820, and I want to be able to buy my own house. And I described the type of house, and I just remembered, it's like he was like, yeah, it's like we're gonna live there. And he kept saying we, but he didn't really, because I remember those time when I told him, I was like, your daughters aren't gonna be coming to my house. And that started an argument, that started a fight. But if you allow your daughter to literally put bruises on my legs and literally say I hate you on a semi-regular basis, she is not allowed in my house. I am not going to allow that type of toxicity in my house. If I own that house, I want it to be a peace of mind. I want it to be my refuge. But this man tore up my vehicle and I had to pay for it. And then his vehicle got repossessed. He borrowed money from me. And then his truck broke down. He had to borrow my vehicle so that he can get overtime, so that he would be able to try to start saving for a vehicle. Then when it was time to buy a vehicle, his credit score was still so terrible that he needed to borrow around 430 to $60 from me. I forgot exactly how much, but it was over 400. But then it was like this was over the summer, and I kept asking, like, okay, when are you going to start paying me back? When are you going to start paying me back? Next thing I know, for Christmas, he was going to, like, oh yeah, I'll tell the whole story, because I have to tell the whole story, and it's getting real close to the holidays. So yeah, I'm going to tell that story very, very, very soon. But it's ridiculous with everything that he put me through. And it's crazy how all of these men want to be alpha men, but they can't even take care of themselves and they can't take care of their own children. But then they want to date women that are submissive to them, but then they need their money, but then they need their house, but then they need whatever guidance. They need the woman to take care of business, but they want the woman to obey them at the same time. But then they say that they're real men, that they're alpha men, and that they don't have to, then they say they don't have to do anything for the woman, or that they're not willing to do anything for the woman, especially if the woman isn't going to be as intimate, because we are only worth our bodies. So if we're only worth our bodies, don't borrow our money, don't use our money, don't steal our money, because Mr. Lakaki, he owes me money, but he didn't want to pay me back that money. So he gave his now wife, because he tracked down his middle school sweetheart, he tracked her down in order to make sure. And like, she called me the N word so many times. Oh, it's like I thought she was trying to break a world record. And then she threatened to sue me if I kept calling. But I'm just like, one, it was supposed to be for gas money. He turned around and used it for special candy. Out like, and I found out he wasn't going to job interviews. He was going to other women's houses cheating on me. And I wanted my money because I was trying to save money so I can afford an illustrator for my children's books. I just wanted my money. I broke up with him. I broke up with him. I was so happy to be done with him. But for some reason, she thought I wanted him. And I'm like, no. I didn't want his raggedy, no good, ignorant, dropping out of like and stealing from jobs type of guy. I didn't know. But when he stole from my purse, my license and everything to trap me to having to come back to see him. When I finally got my stuff, about to drive off, he ran into the middle of the street with a weapon to his wrist. So, and because I was going through so much toxicity at home, I needed a place to do homework. So, like, at first, it was like, okay, I have to go to his house because if I don't go to his house, he says he's going to harm himself. But then, once I started grad school and I started doing homework, and then my mom kept telling me I'm too stupid to finish. I'm never gonna finish. I'm hopeless. I'm never gonna get anywhere. And then it's like if I can't even pick up my feet, then no one's ever gonna hire me because if I'm that stupid that I can't walk right. If I'm going through all of that stuff at home, I needed somewhere to do my homework. And that's kind of how it turned out. I dated a guy because I wanted to do my homework in peace. I would need to go somewhere where, yes, I got called the N word by his stepmom and I got judged by his family members. But at the same time, I could at least do my homework. And I was like, I knew I was pissing some of them off because they're like, dang it, she's going to finish. Dang it, I didn't think she was like, because when I first started my master's, they didn't think much of it. They're like, oh, she's going to probably quit. Some of them didn't know I already had a master's. It's like they found that out later when sometimes my ex would get under the influence of special candy and he would just brag about everything. And even later in the relationship, he would brag about how he was cheating on me. And so then later when I was like, okay, well, you cheated on me on this day. No, how do you know? No, my bad. Yeah. I was like, yeah, you just said, how do I know? You just said, how do I know? And it's like, you are stuck on your special candy so much, you don't realize when you snitch on yourself, you tell on yourself. And you show pictures. You literally show pictures. But these men out here, it's like they want us to feel like we're just material, like we're nothing until they have it. Like, but sometimes I'm like, okay, so remember that when you have a daughter, because both of these men Mr. No Heart and Mr. Lakaki have daughters. And I'm like, I want your daughters to meet men just like you. Every time I tell that to a man, they get so upset. And I'm like, why are you upset? If you're a good man, that should be a compliment. If you're an outstanding man, that should be a compliment. You should be so happy that I said that. Why are you upset with me? Let's think. So, guys, if you're going to say you're an alpha male, because with my standards, starting an investment plan, starting investments, I say starting because I know how hard it is out here. But before my diagnosis, before my disability, I was investing, and my ex would mock me, tease me, and put me down and laugh at me for investing. I wonder if he would laugh at me now. Many men try to ask me for money or tell me, oh, you're one of those good girls. Oh, that means it's like, or some men, especially, okay, black men, I'm going to drag you again. Yeah. It's like you never care because you say I'm not black enough anyway. So, anyway, a lot of the black men tell me instead of investing, I need to buy more expensive wigs, more expensive hair and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, you guys care so much about how I look. And you know what? Yes, I don't buy expensive hair. I don't. It's like instead, I enjoy looking at like once every other week, sometimes every week, if I see a lot of changes or if I invested in something that's really exciting. It's like I like watching how that's growing because just like hair, it's just like cars. They lose interest, they depreciate in value. I am trying to invest my money to appreciate, not depreciate. So when men try to put me down, I'm like, okay, boy, bye. It's like if you're gonna, like, you care so much about the hair and how much it costs. And it's like, so yeah, I'll just continue that on a different day. Thank you for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too. And don't let anybody, male or female, I only date men, so I only know from that perspective, but don't let any of these people try to tell you what to do and try to treat you like you're not human or try to treat you like the only value you have is the use of your body.